Welcome to the Pencil Bob channel. I hope you enjoy the story. Remember to like and subscribe. And now the story.
I've lived in my home for about a year, and my challenges started really early on. When we moved in, some fixtures on the outside of my house were falling off. I have young kids, and this was a safety issue.
I had walked around the neighborhood enough to know those fixtures were not required to be uniform.
I found some ones I liked, put them up. Around the same time, I removed rat-infested trees that completely blocked my front porch because rats. This whole time, around 2 months, I was waiting for portal access to pay dues, submit requests, etc. Reached out several times, never got a response. About 2 more months goes by, and I get a notice of violation for the fixtures and the trees in the mail. Awesome. I get portal access set up as a result. Apologize for not going through the proper channels and submit a formal request for the 2 items, plus an additional request for a tree removal and permission to install pavers. Fast forward another month, we've been in our home for about 6 months, and I get a random knock on the door. 3 grown men, all members of the HOA board, are at my house to notify me of everything I'm in violation of. You know, the 2 things I was already actively working with the property management through. This felt weird and like an intimidation tactic. I, 32 non-binary, and my wife, 35 female, are part of the LGBTQ community and a bit on the younger side for the rest of the association. I tell them it's being handled with the property management company, and then email the property management company to request no further unannounced visits to my home.
Property manager gets back to me, doesn't acknowledge that the HOA showed up at my house unannounced, and addresses that the fixtures are not approved, but the pavers are. I install the pavers and then ask them for some guidance on what approved fixtures would be since the old ones were beyond repair. I also requested guidance from the head of the ARC committee and was told to be patient.
59 business days later. This is important. And after I requested no less than 3 times for approved styles of the fixtures, they send me a link of what's acceptable.
It's the same link I included as a suggestion that was ignored.
I told them that with all due respect, they were outside of the 45 business day window the CC&Rs allow for, and that I would not be changing my fixtures.
Everything goes dead silent until November. So, another 5 months.
I get 3 violations in the mail: fixtures, pavers, and a sign I put in my yard. Immediately I went to the portal, told them to read UpThread for context regarding the lights and pavers, and told them that everyone has signs up, and that I wouldn't be taking mine down since I'm positive nobody else has received violation notices.
That also goes unanswered. Beginning of this month, I get a second notice of violation.
I finally just called the property management company on February 1st, and am assured that I will receive no additional correspondence until they can review it internally, and that the property manager would reach out. It's crickets until I get a cease and desist letter from the HOA lawyer, threatening me with fines, that the HOA would come onto my property to correct my violations, and that I am responsible for legal fees incurred.
I have been a homeowner in HOAs for over a decade. I am in no way trying to get special treatment, and the last thing on my mind is discrimination usually. But them coming to my house, the fact that my neighbor put the same exact sign in her yard months ago and has not received anything, and them now refusing to talk to me, unless it's through their lawyer, all points to that.
I'm just looking to get the same treatment that my neighbors get, and I have an overwhelming amount of documented proof that I'm getting extra attention.
I'm in a condo. Our buildings are 2 stories, 8 units each. Each unit has a detached basement half the size of their unit. In each of the 16 buildings, 1 unit's basement has the water main shut off.
Some owners who live on the 1st floor have put in a staircase and finished their basement as living space.
The owner before us did that with our unit, which also has the water main shut off for our building.
Not a big deal. Each unit has our own shutoff above the water heater.
It's all good. 2 or 3 years ago, I had a plumber out, and while he was here, I had my water heater assessed because it's old as F. During the discussion of replacement, He mentioned that we have a gate valve as our shutoff, and it should probably be replaced with a ball valve, and it would make sense to do that during the water heater replacement. I'm on board. He also said for general safety, they always make sure the water main shutoff is working, so that if the shutoff above the water heater fails, they have a backup plan in place. Super, I'm not into floods.
Our water main seized.
I told the maintenance dude several times, who is literally the man responsible for this shit. Nice guy, not a fire under his ass kinda guy.
And now it's 2 to 3 years later and nothing. Not a peep. Even though I've mentioned it from time to time in conversation with maintenance.
I had some other work done today. The building is 50 years old. Some of the plumbing just plain needs to be replaced. Discussed water heater again, as it is on borrowed time.
Contacted the HOA again. Looks like maybe this is finally going to get addressed, due exclusively to the fact that we finally have a board member who is sick of the lack of maintenance. If the water heater goes out in the meantime, there are 143 other homes whose water supply rely on my 50-year-old gate valve, not failing while the plumber fucks off with the water heater.
But I'm not living without hot water, unless the HOA is paying to put me in a pet-friendly hotel with a kitchen for more than 48 hours because maintenance has effed off. It's honestly ridiculous that I'm still having to deal with this headache. I'm also telling the HOA that they need to notify everyone in my building of an annual exercise of the new water main shutoff, because I'm only doing this shit once.
So, here's the scoop on the bizarre saga happening right in my own backyard. For what feels like eons, my quaint neighborhood has been grappling with a peculiar problem: cones. Yes, you read that right, cones. It all started innocently enough, with the occasional cone appearing in the middle of the road, presumably to slow down traffic. Annoying? Sure. But nothing too concerning, right? Wrong. You see, these cones started innocently enough, popping up every so often like unwanted weeds in a garden. Most folks shrugged them off as an eccentric quirk of our little corner of the world. After all, what harm could a few traffic cones do, right? In short, we were in for a wild ride. Enter stage left, construction. Suddenly, the neighborhood was buzzing with activity as crews worked tirelessly to improve our surroundings. But amidst the chaos of bulldozers and jackhammers, something peculiar happened: more cones appeared. And not just any cones. These were a mishmash of colors and sizes, a veritable kaleidoscope of traffic calming devices, if you will. But the pièce de résistance? A cone adorned with a makeshift scarecrow, complete with a Dora the Explorer toy sporting an oversized shirt and pants. It was equal parts absurd and concerning, like a scene straight out of a surreal dream. And it was about to get even weirder. As the cone epidemic escalated, so did my curiosity. What was the deal with these pesky cones, and who was behind their sudden proliferation? Determined to get to the bottom of things, I embarked on a quest for answers, starting with the logical choice: the HOA. Surely, they'd have some insight into this cone conundrum, right? Wrong. Their response was as baffling as it was infuriating, blaming the city for allegedly granting homeowners permission to deploy the cones in the name of traffic control. But something about their explanation didn't sit right with me. Undeterred, I decided to take matters into my own hands and reached out to the city directly. Armed with questions and a healthy dose of skepticism, I sought clarification on the supposed cone permits. The response? A resounding nope. According to the city engineers, no such permits had been issued for our neighborhood. Cue the dramatic music. But the plot thickened. Not only were the cones unauthorized, but the city hinted that getting the police involved would be about as effective as herding cats. In other words, I was on my own in this quest for justice. Armed with this newfound information, I steeled myself for the next phase of my investigation. Armed with this newfound knowledge, I confronted the HOA once more, demanding answers. Suddenly, they were singing a different tune, backpedaling on their claims and pointing fingers elsewhere. Convenient, right? Lo and behold, the next day, the cones miraculously vanished into thin air. As if by magic, the cones vanished without a trace. Call it a coincidence or call it a cover-up, but one thing was clear. The cone conspiracy ran deeper than any of us could have imagined. And I wasn't about to let it slide. Coincidence? I think not. It's clear that something shady is afoot in my seemingly idyllic neighborhood, and I won't rest until the truth behind the cone conspiracy is fully exposed. Stay tuned for possible updates, because this scandal is far from over. Clearly, some of you might think that this whole thing is no big deal and why am I bothering with it at all? Well, maybe I am being just a touch on the anal side, but I hate being lied to. If the HOA is willing to lie to me about something as simple as this, what else are they lying about?
So, the backstory.
I have parked my van for almost a year without any problems on the street in front of my driveway. Yesterday, we see the guy in the middle of the night trying to pull it on his tow truck. I go out, tell him what's going on, to which he replies he received a letter from HOA that they don't want this oversized vehicle on their property, which is clearly a public road, not a fenced or gated community either, and that they want it towed specifically after 1 a.m. The guy tells me he'll let it down, just show me the key, to which I went back inside and did. He lets it go and tells me to park on the street over, saying that it shouldn't be a problem there, which is also a public road, with no sign saying that I can't park there.
To which I did, parked for a whole day there, only to find out now that it was towed.
Went to the local PD thinking maybe they towed it or something. Upon checking, they said they didn't do it.
Which came to my mind at that point that tow company did that. I called them asking if they have it or not, to which they said, yeah, we do. It was towed at 1:12 a.m. I started asking questions why it was towed from a public road and etc., to which she said that HOA manager wanted it gone. That's a that. She tells me to stay on hold. Meanwhile, this is all happening right in the police department in front of the desk. The tow company calls it in while I am on hold there with them and tells the cops it was relocated, so they either forgot to do it or something for legal purposes.
I don't know.
But all of this has been a roller coaster to me, to which I don't know how to react, as I'd been the owner for 16 years there and paying my fees all the time, only to get piss on the face from HOA.
No prior notices from them, no emails, no phone calls. Just rats in the middle of the night, when they think I am sleeping, trying to get my van away from me. Yesterday, I went to my village hall to speak to Public Works Dept.
In order to figure out if the roads are indeed public or not, like some of you suggested. The lady in the cubicle said that roads are public and maintained by my village, snow removal, road maintenance and etc. All by them, even gave me a map.
Ha ha ha.
On top of all that, I was recording, just in case I can't prove my info in the future.
I would like to thank you for watching the video to the end. To encourage us to make more videos, please like, subscribe, comment, as well as share. Check out this other video if you haven't already.